Hello, my friends. I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table. And we're looking at Gray and White Mama, who is trying to act as a microphone and not doing a good job of it. So we are now looking at issue 10, Battletechnology, Magazine of the Combat in the 31st Century. That I paid a while. When I bought this copy, when I bought the copy I had, $4.95. This is obviously a PDF that was donated to the channel, and I printed out and have been thoroughly enjoying rereading. Issue 10, just so you know, says issue 10. Sometimes the issues are confusing. Janos Marik Slain. Oh no. Right? So let's take a look at the inside of this thing. Opening shots, a new war. Where were you when the Fourth Succession War began? Brought to us fascinating series of letters. We've been publishing them for decades now, and there's no end to sight. So, Battletechnology office hit by earthquake. As we go to press, our Terran office in California has been hit by an earthquake. All Battletech personnel are well. Due to shipping problems, collapsed highways and bridges, publications of this issue will be delayed by about a week. Reminds us that no matter what our level of technology, even in the Star League era itself, nature can force our plans to change. Our offices and ourselves are fine. Our support services are returning to normal. We will be soon back on schedule. Thank you for your support and patience. All right. Well, could have been worse. Yes, sir. It could have been worse. So this was, what year was that published? Is that in here? Sometimes I can find the dates pretty easily, and sometimes I got to search for them because they're tiny print, or because they're not there, or because, I just can't see them. And I keep looking and looking and looking. And 1988. Copyright 1988. So that was when they had that big earthquake that dropped a whole bunch of interstates, sections of the interstate and stuff. I remember that. I would have been 22 that year, and I think I was working for one of the convenience store chains at that time, probably the 7-Eleven, where I got a couple scars and lots of weird ass battle stories. Excuse my French. Battletechnology magazine, combat in the 31st century, blah blah blah. Right. Taken into the Andrian revolt causes Marik a stroke. Atreus, December 15, 3030. Janos Marik winning at last. Yeah, he couldn't catch a break. It wasn't fair. Sky Crisis defused. Janos Marik recovers. The Krita online military revolts. Yeah, Rasalhague, April 3rd, 3034. 3 weeks ago, Prince Haakon Magnusson proclaimed the independence of the Free Republic of Rasalhague. Even as a spokesman for House Krita gave the press statements welcoming the new nation, conservative diehards within the Draconis Combine prepared for a very different response. This was actually the catalyst for probably 6 months worth of combat between my friend David and I when we were playing BattleTech, and we were playing out some of these Ronin groups that were contesting the FFR's creation, and it was interesting and fun. Right? I never, didn't change nothing, but all right. So we have a very mixed unit. The mixed units of the Ronin Wars have caused some strange combinations. By treaty with the Combine and the Commonwealth, officers from both houses were to train regular forces for the Kung's army of the Free Rasalhague Republic. Nobody expected these forces to be at war quite so soon, but the Ronin rebels struck suddenly and viciously, and all units were responding, blah, blah, blah. So we have a Worldbook, Rasalhague, the center of government, the Free Republic of Rasalhague. These entries come in handy if you don't have them in other source books and you're looking for, the world or something. Anyway, you can't win. Kumala Chatterjee from her bestseller To Inform the Dragon, Pangendrum Press, Genoa 3035. Right? Says, in my contract, says I am the cover. Marriages, births, affairs, decor, scandals, etc. I'm forbidden to mention politics. But what's a girl to do when births and marriages are totally tangled with politics? Since the start of this decade, we have seen Victor Ian Steiner Devon, the first of the children, 3 to date of the first Prince Hans Davion and Archon designate Melissa Steiner. And then we go down, in 3033, the long-headed marriage of Canary Theodore Carita, Prince of Luthien, to Tomos Akkad, mech warrior of the Legion of Vagan, and a near commoner is revealed. Their oldest son, Hihiro, is the able young man, etc. 3030 and 3033, birth to Morgan and Slum, kill of a son, Felon, is celebrated. 3034, President Neil Avalar, the Outworld's alignments, welcome to the military presence of Comstar on his worlds. What's that got to do with kids being born? I don't know. Anyway, one adds in bounties. Who killed Janos Marik? Well, we all know who killed Janos Marik. It was old age and despair. He was immortal, damn it. The Rasalhague Iron Jarl. General Tor Miraborg. God, the names these guys use are so twisty. They give me tongue-tie twisting to something fierce. Mercenaries in politics of the 31st century, a necessary evil. The government will honor their contracts, but I will not guarantee the people, which caused a lot of problems for them in the long run. It really didn't work out for them that well. And of course, at the end of the day, the clans pretty much reduced them to a handful of worlds that were totally dependent on Comstar for their salvation. Now, just saying. And then eventually they went to bed with the smoke jaguars, or excuse me, the ghost bears, and created quite possibly the most plausible scenario for clan intersphere hybrid, followed by the Snow Ravens and the Outworlds Alliance. Comrades at Arms, incoming. The next action-packed issue of Battletechnology will include the Fox Eats Crow, Hans Davion loses a war, and Theodore Carida wins one. The Useless Mech, Tales of Theodore Carida and the Forced Succession War, House Merrick, a Private Succession War, the Edge-Unite, a Mechless Mercenary Unit, External Stores, What and Where, Battle Mech Engine Efficiency, more unusual mechs, plus other features and articles including regular comms, battle simulations, news from the periphery, news from the inner sphere, and much, much more. Don't miss it. Right? Comrades at Arms, blah, blah, blah. And there was Hero waving to me to descend. I love these short stories. I really do. They add so much depth and flavor to the overall experience, but what do I know? Here is a very nice addition that I actually tapped quite a few times when I was younger because there really was they had no alternatives. Is the Wildcat Aerospace tanker. I'd always, we have well established how to aerial refuel anything today. So to expect that they leap forward a couple hundred years or 400 or 500 years or 1,000 years and they don't have that capability, get out. Just get off. Just get off. Leave the damn video. What's wrong with you? Yeah, they have to exist somewhere. They just weren't in canon at that point. And they're a little bit now. There's a few things that have been added in the decade since, but back in the day, remember, this is 1988, none of that existed. So these were very valuable. Because I always said, one of the things that always bothered us was, well, if we're going to send aerospace, if somebody jumps in from a jump point, we have to send the defense force from the planet to go engage this incoming force before it hits the ground. We're going to launch all of our fighters, or most of them, up there, and they're going to haul butt for days, if not weeks. Well, they can't do that individually, can they? They don't have that kind of range. So they have to be packed up into drop ships, and then the drop ships have to haul them out to the battlefield. Well, that's great for the long distance stuff, but what do you do when you're running mid distance? It sure is a lot of wasted resources to devote a drop ship or more than one to refuel and support your aerospace fighters. Especially when you're operating from ground bases. Having your own aerospace tanker that can do that job much more efficiently and cheaper than a dropship could makes a lot of sense. So you have one aerospace tanker per 3 flights of fighters. They all launch together, and then at that midpoint, or when you're safe enough from the encroaching enemy to do the refueling, you engage in it. Then the fighters continue on to their engagement, and then the tanker turns around and either returns to the base to be refueled, or if there's sufficient amount of fuel left, it returns or loiters in a safe zone while waiting for the returning fighters to come back to be refueled again, so they can all return to the base safely. So this was a very nice addition. I really enjoyed it. I used it a lot. As a matter of fact, I used it so much. I found I actually had a little circled UFO thing that I painted and altered a little bit to make it kind of look as much as I could like this thing. It was pretty slick. My friend was impressed by it anyway. But then we were young and I was stupid. What do I know? Away borders. Jump ships are perhaps the most valuable pieces of equipment currently being used throughout the inner sphere. Without jump ships, interstellar travel would be all but impossible. Would be all but impossible. How else can you make interstellar travel in the Battletech universe if you do not have a jump ship? Anyone? Anyone? It would be literally impossible. It would literally be the end of everything except people living on individual planets and maybe in the systems they're in. So anyway, how does then a mercenary company, a trading cartel, or the successors obtain and scarce and valuable vessels? See, that was another part of my argument, and it has been for decades, about the fact that early canon implied there was such an unrealistic number of remaining jump ships in the inner sphere that the idea that just about any merc unit that was worth its salt could have one was retarded, let alone all these private individuals. So if you're wealthy enough to own your own jump ship, that must be extreme privilege, because, if your house has only got 1,000 jump ships, who the hell are you to bogart a jump ship? You get where I'm going with that? I'm just saying. So I never bought in. I always felt that was being underrepresented in a gross way. I mean, I didn't. I understand that they didn't want them to just be common as Star Trek or Star Wars, but come on, man, you got to be a little bit realistic. So another way to acquire a jump ship is to take it, like the pirates do. But there are generally dangers in doing that, especially if you're a legitimate mercenary command or a legitimate house, you have taking another stealing somebody else's jump ship. You got a lot more I don't know, you better be able to claim it very well. Like here, we were able to claim the dropship under maritime salvage laws because they found a loophole. It sank in the ocean, and we brought it out. Well, great. And then there's this kind of stuff. Been going just fine all morning. Now my nose wants to bleed. Just out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. That kind of see. I've always had to deal with this since I was a kid. When I was a teenager, my folks actually had to have my nose cauterized on the inside because I'd have nosebleeds 2-3 times a day. And, it is kind of what it is. I was trying we could get through this. I was going to do a video on this thing, but I think we'll leave that one for another day. I plan to do some videos on New Year's Day because I'm not going to have much to do, but so we'll get in here. What we got? I think this is that scenario for stealing a jump ship. All right. Mech warrior a scenario of court intrigue. Okay, so we got another scenario there. Rift into hell. The M1 MB Munin Lamb. Nice little addition to the lambs. Lambs weren't all that great in the first place, but it was just another add-on. A 45 tonner, trying to give a little bit more range for options. Let's see, is that it? It is Slaughterhouse. Okay. Oh, and the CRB 6S Cerberus. Kind of a interesting fighter, aerospace fighter, 50 tons. Anyway, there you go. Me, my bloody nose, and Great White Mama here. Thank you for joining us at the table while I go out and try to get this to stop. Till next time, I'm Rick. You ain't.